Hey everybody, welcome back to World History with Mr. Finn. We are off and running with the emperors that are going to turn the empire of Rome in a good direction. Remember, after Caesar, we had Augustus. Augustus ruled for 45 years. Things were great, but following his death, we're going to see the emperors that we looked at last time, like Caligula, Nero, and Claudius, and some of the other ones. And they really abused their power, to say the least. They took more and more power away from the Senate. They would act crazy and do anything they wanted to at the expense of anyone else. And they all, for the most part, met untimely deaths, and it was not good for them. Where it turns around, and this is the reason why it turns around, is that we're going to have 5 good emperors. Now, why are they good emperors? Well, one of the big things is the succession, or the person who takes over after the emperor, is going to change a little bit. It's not going to be based on blood or relations, family relations. The 5 good emperors are going to come about as, they are chosen by, I guess we'll say, the previous emperor. All right? So these people are allowed to choose who follows them as emperor. That way, it's not, hey, you're my son or my nephew or whatever, and you're not qualified at all, but you'll be the emperor. And then crazy things happen. The emperors at this stage are now going to say, who's going to be my successor? Who's going to take over after me? You seem like you know your stuff and you're good. We'll go with you. You know the politics, you know how to act. And that's why these 5 good emperors are called 5 good emperors. They eliminate some of the crazy outside things like executions without trials, and all of these other aspects that the first emperors were just doing anything they wanted to. And these 5 good emperors do things that help Rome as a whole, and so that's why they're viewed as 5 good emperors. Now, they start a period called the Pax Romana. This means Roman peace. So, Roman peace, what does that mean? Basically, what it means is for about 100 years, 100 years of peace, 100 years of good. We'll keep using good as our word. So it's 100 years of good times and prosperity for the empire, and things are going good. There's not a lot of wars. They pretty much have control of the Mediterranean, and the emperors are doing things that are good for the people and the civilization as a whole. And so for 100 years, the Pax Romana takes place, and this is where we're going to kind of stop, because I want you to look at 2 of our 5 good emperors. Probably the most famous of the 2, Trajan and Hadrian. Now, what you're going to do is short, because I could give you an assignment where it's like, hey, look at all the different Roman emperors and find things out about them, but we'll just stick with the ones that were the most famous. So it's kind of like with our triumvirate. What I want to see you guys do is give me 2, we call them fun facts. 2 fun facts about Trajan and about Hadrian. And those are how you spell them. As far as looking it up, you just go to Google and say Roman Emperor Trajan, Roman Emperor Hadrian. Give me 2 things that they did. Just look and see who they are, what they did. I can give you a hint. One thing you cannot use. Trajan is going to put programs in to the Roman government and the Roman civilization that assist the poor with living. Basically, think of it as a welfare system for people that were not able to live on their own. Trajan's going to put in place things that will help the poor people of Rome, which is a far cry from when we talked about the Gracchus brothers. When they had that idea 150 years before, they ended up meeting an untimely death as well. But now Trajan, being the emperor, can do this because the Senate can't stand up to him. He has the power. He's an emperor. The 5 good emperors, something to keep in mind. Even though they treated people with respect, the Senate was still losing more and more power during this time period. So every emperor that we go down the line is going to get more and more power. And so no one can stand up to him. You just hope whoever the emperor is a good emperor, because they have complete control over anything they want to do. No one can really stand up to them. And so as long as things are peaceful and good, these 5 good emperors are allowed to continue to be emperors and rule, and there's not plots to overthrow them or assassinate anyone or do anything crazy. And 2 good examples are Trajan and Hadrian, and that's who I want you to take a look at today. So just a couple of fun facts, 2 things about each one of these. So 2 for Trajan, 2 for Hadrian. Make sure you get that to me today. We are going to start moving in a direction. We'll start looking at a timeline of events, because the Roman Empire is getting very large at this time. In fact, Hadrian, is going to do things to basically protect the outskirts of this huge empire. We'll look how big it is. We'll look at some of the problems they're facing. And we're going to start to see a decline because it just gets too big to manage for these people. It's just a huge empire. So on that note, make sure you get this to me today for participation and attendance purposes. You guys have been doing a great job, and I will see you next class.